Maria Rodriguez woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning like she always did. The sky was still dark and cold. Winter was coming to Tennessee, and the air felt sharp and dry. She pulled on her old brown jacket and stepped outside. Her breath came out in white clouds. The ranch was quiet. Only the sound of the wind moving through the trees could be heard. Maria had been doing this for 32 years. She would wake up early, check on the animals, and make sure everything was okay before the sun came up. This morning felt like every other morning. She did not know that her life was about to change forever. She walked slowly toward the big barn. Her boots made sounds on the frozen ground. The main road was far away, and the nearest neighbor lived 3 miles down the road. This was a world quiet, peaceful, and filled with horses. Maria loved this life more than anything. When she was a young girl, her grandfather had taught her everything about horses. He showed her how to read their eyes, how to touch their necks to understand what they were feeling, and how to trust them. Horses know the truth, he used to say. They cannot lie like people can. Those words had stayed with her whole life. As Maria opened the barn door, she heard a sound that made her stop. It was the sound of her prize mare, Moonlight, making short noises. Not angry noises, but the sounds a horse makes when something important is happening. Maria knew this sound well. Moonlight was going to have her baby today. Maria had been waiting for this moment for 9 months. The baby would be born from Moonlight, and a beautiful Appaloosa stallion that belonged to a breeder 2 counties away. Maria had saved money for 3 years to pay for that breeding. She believed this baby would be something special. She could feel it. Maria moved quickly but carefully. She turned on the barn lights. The warm yellow light filled the space. She could see Moonlight standing in her special stall, the one Maria had prepared carefully with clean hay and soft blankets. Moonlight was breathing hard. Her eyes were wide. Maria approached her slowly and spoke in a soft, calm voice. "It is okay, Moonlight. I am here. I will stay with you," she whispered. She put her hand on the horse's neck. The mare was shaking a little, but she was not afraid of Maria. They had known each other for 5 years. Moonlight trusted this woman completely. The birth took 2 hours. Maria sat on a bucket and watched. She did not interfere. Nature knew what to do. She simply watched and waited. At 5 minutes past 6 in the morning, a tiny wet baby horse slid onto the clean hay. Maria gasped. The baby was perfect. Small, wet, with long, thin legs that looked too fragile for such a young body. Moonlight turned around right away and began licking her baby with strong, careful movements. This was nature working exactly as it should. But then Maria saw something that made her freeze. As the foal dried in the warm barn air, a pattern began to appear on her coat. Maria moved closer, very slowly. She did not want to disturb the baby and mother. She knelt down in the hay. Her heart started beating faster and faster. What she was seeing did not make sense. The foal was an Appaloosa, like her father. But the markings were not normal at all. The baby's coat was mostly white, but across the entire back and sides were deep spots the color of dark mahogany and rich brown. But that was not the strange part. The strange part was the pattern. The spots were arranged like something from a dream. They were not random. They looked almost like someone had painted them there with careful hands. And the face Maria leaned even closer to look at the tiny face. The baby had a white blaze running down the center, perfectly straight and perfectly shaped like a diamond. On both sides of this white blaze were spots arranged in a pattern so perfect, so exact, that it looked impossible. It looked like nature had decided to create art. Maria's hands were shaking. She had seen thousands of horses in her life. She had seen every kind of marking and color. She had seen horses with spots, horses with stripes, horses with blazes and socks and white faces. But she had never seen anything like this. Not once. Not ever. The baby was less than 1 hour old, and she was already the most unusual horse Maria had ever looked at. Maria stood up slowly. She walked to the corner of the barn and sat down on an old wooden box. Her mind was racing. Questions were coming one after another. Was this normal? Could this happen? She had heard about genetic surprises, about rare markings that appeared sometimes, but nothing like this. This was not just unusual. This was something that seemed impossible. She sat there for a long time, watching the baby horse stand on her thin legs. The foal was trying to nurse from moonlight. Everything was working correctly. The baby was healthy and strong, but she looked like she came from another world. She looked like magic. When the sun finally came up, Maria was still in the barn. The yellow light from the barn lamps mixed with the orange and pink light of the sunrise coming through the windows. The little foal was standing steady now, her coat dry and shining. Every spot was visible. Every marking was clear. In that morning light, with dust particles floating in the beams of sun, the baby horse looked like something from a dream. Maria knew she had to call the veterinarian. She had to tell someone about what she had seen. But sitting there in the quiet barn, with just the mother and baby horse, Maria felt something else too. She felt something deep in her chest. It felt like wonder. It felt like she had just witnessed something that was not supposed to happen. Something rare. Something that might only come once in a lifetime. Maybe once in a million lifetimes. She did not know yet that this moment, this cold November morning, would change everything about her life. She did not know the journey that was coming, but she could feel it starting. She could feel it in the way her heart was beating. She could feel it in the impossible beauty of the baby horse standing in front of her. Maria named the baby horse Destiny's Mark 3 days after she was born. She chose this name because of the markings that looked like they were meant to be there. Like destiny itself had marked this baby for something special. Most of the workers on the ranch just called her the special one, but some did not mean it as a kind thing. Some people said it the way people say bad things. On the 4th day, Maria called Dr. James Mitchell, the veterinarian who took care of all her horses. Dr. Mitchell was a good man. He had been working with horses for 20 years. Maria trusted him completely. She asked him to come look at Destiny's Mark as soon as possible. She did not tell him why on the phone. She wanted him to see the foal for himself. When Dr. Mitchell arrived that afternoon, Maria brought him straight to the barn. Moonlight was in her stall with the foal. The baby had grown stronger every day. She could run a little bit now. She could jump and play. When Dr. Mitchell saw her, he stopped walking. He just stood there and looked. Maria watched his face. His eyes went wide. He did not say anything for a long time. "I have never seen anything like this," he finally said. He walked around the foal very slowly. He looked at every part of her body. He looked at her spots. He looked at her face. He looked at her legs and her back and her neck. He touched her gently and checked that she was healthy. The foal was strong and perfect. No health problems at all. After 1 hour, Dr. Mitchell sat down on a hay bale and shook his head. "Maria, this is unusual, very unusual. The genetic pattern here is not something I have studied before. The symmetry is almost impossible. I would like to take some pictures. I would like to write down information about her parents and her bloodline. This might be something that should be recorded," he said. Maria felt happy. Finally, someone else could see it too. Someone educated and important thought that Destiny's Mark was special. But then, Dr. Mitchell said something that made her worry. "However," he said slowly, "I need to tell you something important. Horses with this much white on their coat can sometimes have problems. They can have hearing issues. They can be more sensitive to sun. And the breeding that creates these kinds of markings, sometimes the genetics are not stable. You need to be careful about the future," he warned. Maria listened. She understood what he was saying. But she also knew that Destiny's Mark was healthy right now. She was strong and normal in every way. She refused to worry about problems that might never come. News about the unusual foal began to spread through the small horse community in Tennessee. Word traveled fast in that world. People talked at farm supply stores. They talked on the phone. They posted pictures on internet farming groups. And the opinions were not all good. In fact, many opinions were very bad. One afternoon, a man named Robert Clemens came to the ranch. He was a well-known horse breeder who had won many competitions. He had raised Appaloosas for 40 years. He parked his truck and walked toward the barn without even greeting Maria properly. Maria followed him to where Destiny's Mark was playing in the pasture. Robert looked at the foal for maybe 30 seconds. Then he turned to Maria with a strange look on his face. "She looks broken," he said flatly. "Those markings are not normal. They are a sign of genetic problems. You should not breed with her. You should not give people false hope about what she could become. Nature does not usually do things like this for a good reason. Something is wrong here," he said. Maria felt like he had hit her with a rock. His words hurt so badly. She looked at Destiny's Mark playing in the grass, completely innocent and happy. The foal was running and kicking her legs up. She was doing exactly what a healthy baby horse should do. But Robert Clemens was saying she was broken. "She is healthy," Maria said quietly. The veterinarian checked her completely. "There is nothing wrong with her." "Not yet," Robert said. He walked back to his truck and drove away. That night, Maria sat alone in the kitchen of her house. Her husband, Luis, came home from his job at the factory. She told him about what Robert Clemens had said. She expected Luis to comfort her. Instead, he sighed a long sigh. "Maria, I love you, but I am worried about you. You are spending all your time thinking about this foal. You are getting attached. You are starting to believe things that might not be true. This horse might have problems we do not understand yet. And people are talking. They are saying you are crazy. They are saying you lost your mind over some spots on a horse," he said. Maria's heart broke a little bit. Her own husband did not believe in her, did not believe in Destiny's Mark. The next week, an official from the Agricultural Extension Office came to the ranch. He came to check on the animals and make sure the farm was following all the rules. Maria brought him to see Destiny's Mark. She wanted another expert to see her. The man looked at the foal and said, "Unusual markings. I would need to do more research to understand what I am seeing. But I would warn you not to get too attached to exceptional ideas about this animal. Many unusual things in nature look special, but turn out to be ordinary problems," he said. Maria felt lonely. Everyone around her was saying the same thing. Everyone was telling her not to believe, not to hope, not to see what was right in front of her eyes. Even her own family was doubting her. But when Maria looked at Destiny's Mark, she did not see what they saw. She saw something beautiful. She saw something true. She saw a baby horse that was not broken. She saw a horse that was healthy and smart and kind. The spots and markings were just the outside. They were not the most important thing. That night, Maria walked out to the pasture alone. The moon was bright and full in the sky. Destiny's Mark came running to her. The foal put her head on Maria's shoulder, just like she always did. Maria put her arms around the baby horse's neck and held her tight. "I believe in you," Maria whispered. "Even when no one else does, I believe in you. I do not care what they say. I know you are special. I know it in my heart." And in that moment, standing under the stars with her hand on the beautiful, unusual foal, Maria made a decision. She would not listen to the doubters. She would not listen to the people who said her horse was broken. She would trust her heart. She would trust what she knew was true, no matter what anyone else said that 2 years past. Destiny's Mark grew from a tiny foal into a young horse. She was now almost 4 years old. Her body had filled out. Her legs were strong and straight. Her coat had become even more beautiful as she grew. The spots that had seemed so strange when she was born now looked perfectly right on her larger body. She had become a beautiful horse in every way. But the real change was not something you could see with your eyes. The real change was invisible. It was the bond between Maria and Destiny's Mark. It had grown into something that most people would never understand. It was something that words could not describe very well. This became their routine. Every afternoon when the work was done, Maria would go to the pasture. She would find a good spot and sit down. Within minutes, Destiny's Mark would come to her. The young horse would lower her head and rest it gently on Maria's shoulder. They would stay like this for an hour sometimes, just sitting together, not talking, not doing anything special, just being present with each other. Destiny's Mark could have pulled back. She could have fought against the rope, but instead she slowed down. She moved very gently. She seemed to understand that the young girl was nervous and scared. The horse adjusted her own behavior to make it easier for Sophia. It was like watching someone show mercy to another person. Maria saw this happen, and tears came to her eyes. Rosa was sitting on the bottom rung of the fence. She was not supposed to do this alone, but she had snuck away from Sophia for just a moment. Suddenly, Rosa lost her balance. She fell backward off the fence and landed hard on the ground. She was hurt. She could not stand up. She was crying and screaming in pain. When Rosa was standing, the horse nudged her gently with her nose. Just once. A soft, caring touch. This horse had not been trained to do this. No one had ever taught her to help a fallen child. But something inside Destiny's Mark, something that went beyond training or genetics or anything Maria could explain, had made her help. This horse had compassion. This horse had understanding. This horse had love. That night, Maria sat on the porch of her house. The sun was setting. The sky was turning orange and purple and pink. She thought about everything that had happened. She thought about all the people who said Destiny's Mark was broken. She thought about all the doubt and the criticism. Maria watched the weather carefully. She knew that dry summers could be dangerous, very dangerous. She made sure there was extra water for all the animals. She checked the fences every day. She prepared the ranch for anything that might come. By late July, the danger became real. A massive wildfire started in the mountains about 15 miles away. It started from lightning during a storm that did not bring rain. The fire spread quickly. Very quickly, faster than anyone expected. The wind pushed the flames toward the valley where Maria's ranch was located. On the morning of July 28th, Maria woke up and smelled smoke. Not the smell of a small fire. Not the smell of a campfire or a cooking fire. This was the smell of a big fire. A dangerous fire. She ran outside and looked at the sky. It was gray. The sun was not even visible because of all the smoke. By noon, the county officials came to the ranch. They were driving a big truck. A man came to the door and gave Maria an evacuation order. She had 3 hours to leave the property. 3 hours to move her horses to safety. Maria's heart started beating very fast. She had 14 horses on the ranch. 14 horses that depended on her. 3 hours to move them all to a safe place. It seemed impossible. Where do I take them? Maria asked the official. The county fairground has opened as an emergency shelter. They have water and space. Take them there, he said. Then he drove away to warn the other neighbors. Maria called everyone she could think of. She called Luis from his work. She called Sofia. She called friends and neighbors who had trucks and trailers. Within 30 minutes, people started arriving at the ranch. Everyone wanted to help. They understood how serious this was. The smoke got thicker. The smell got stronger. Maria could see the sky turning darker orange. The fire was getting closer. She could hear a roaring sound in the distance. That was the fire. That was the sound of danger coming toward them. The team of people worked fast. They brought the horses from the pastures to the barn. They loaded them into trailers. One horse, then another, then another. They worked without stopping. Sweat poured down their faces. The smoke made it hard to breathe. Everyone was afraid, but they kept working. But there was one horse that was causing problems. Her name was Benita. She was an older Mari, almost 20 years old. She had always been nervous and stubborn. Right now, she was terrified. The smoke was making her crazy. She would not go into the trailer. Every time someone tried to lead her, she would back up. She would kick. She would fight. "We do not have time for this," Luis said. He was frustrated. He was scared. Everyone could see it. Benita kept backing away from the trailer. She was going to hurt someone. She might hurt herself. And the time was running out. The smoke was getting thicker. The roaring sound was getting louder. Maria looked around desperately. She had to get Benita into that trailer. But nothing was working. The horse was too scared, too upset. And then Maria had an idea. She ran to the pasture. Destiny's Mark was waiting by the gate. The young horse could feel the fear and the danger. She could smell the smoke. But when Maria opened the gate, Destiny's Mark came immediately. "Come with me," Maria said. She did not know if this would work. She was just trying something. She was desperate. Maria led Destiny's Mark to the barn where Benita was still refusing to go into the trailer. When Benita saw Destiny's Mark, something changed. The old mare calmed down a little bit. Destiny's Mark approached her slowly, very slowly. She did not make any scary movements. She just walked closer and closer. Then Destiny's Mark did something amazing. She pushed her nose against Benita's nose. She made a low sound in her throat, a sound like she was talking to the old horse, like she was saying something important, and Benita moved, without any person pulling her, without any rope forcing her. Benita moved toward the trailer. Destiny's Mark stayed right beside her. They walked together. Destiny's Mark kept her nose close to Benita's body. The young horse was protecting the old horse, helping her, guiding her. Benita walked into the trailer. She went in calmly, like she was following her friend, like she trusted this young horse completely. Everyone stood and watched. No one said anything. They had just seen something they did not understand, something that was not normal. The last trailer was loaded at 2:55 in the afternoon, 5 minutes before the official evacuation deadline. As the last truck pulled away from the ranch, Maria looked back at the property. The sky was orange now. The fire was very close, but all the horses were safe. At the county fairground, people kept talking about what happened with Benita and Destiny's Mark. Different people had seen it. They had all watched the young spotted horse lead the old frightened horse into the trailer without any training or commands, just with kindness, just with her presence. One of the farmers, a man named Thomas, who had always been skeptical about Destiny's Mark, came to Maria. "I saw what happened today," he said. His voice was different now, not doubtful, not mean, respectful. "That horse of yours is not broken. She is not odd. She is something special, something I have never seen before." Other people came to Maria, too. Robert Clemens, the man who had said Destiny's Mark was broken, came and apologized. "I was wrong," he said simply. "I do not understand what I saw today, but I know now that I was wrong about that horse." The fire did not reach Maria's ranch. The wind changed direction. The firefighters stopped the fire before it got to that area. After 3 days, Maria was able to go back home. The house was still there. The barn was still there. The fences were still standing. The ranch was safe. But more than that, Destiny's Mark had become something different in the eyes of the whole community. She had become a hero. She had proven something that Maria had always known, that sometimes the most special things about a living being cannot be seen with your eyes. Sometimes the most powerful gifts are in the heart. Veterinarians from nearby towns came to study Destiny's Mark. Horse magazines wanted to write about her. Universities wanted to research her genetics. But Maria turned them all away. She did not want Destiny's Mark to become a science project or a show horse. She wanted something different for this beautiful, brave young horse, because Maria understood now that Destiny's Mark had a purpose, a real purpose. And it had nothing to do with money or fame or what other people wanted, Dot. It had everything to do with love. Spring came to Tennessee in 2023. The world was green again. The grass in the pastures was thick and beautiful. Flowers were blooming in the gardens. The creek was running full with water. Everything was coming back to life. But the biggest change was not in the land. The biggest change was in the hearts of the people who lived there. Destiny's Mark was now 5 years old. She had grown into a beautiful, strong horse. Her coat was shinier than ever. Those unique markings that had seemed so strange when she was born now seemed like the most natural thing in the world. Visitors would come to the ranch just to see her, just to stand near her, just to feel whatever it was that made this horse so special. But Maria had other plans for Destiny's Mark, plans that had nothing to do with money or breeding or showing the horse at competitions. Maria had something different in mind. She had decided to start a therapeutic riding program at the ranch. She had researched it carefully. She had read books and articles. She had talked to people who ran similar programs in other places. And she had realized that Destiny's Mark was perfect for this work. The program was simple. Maria would invite children with special needs to come to the ranch. Children who struggled with learning. Children who had problems speaking. Children who felt broken or different or alone. Maria would let them spend time with Destiny's Mark. Not riding lessons, just time together. Just being present with a horse who was also visibly completely different from other horses. The first child who came was a boy named Marcus. He was 8 years old. He could not speak. He had never spoken a word in his whole life. The doctors did not know why. But Marcus could hear. He could understand things. He just could not make words come out of his mouth. Marcus was nervous when he arrived at the ranch. He held his mother's hand very tightly. He looked around with scared eyes. Everything was new. Everything was strange. Maria brought him to meet Destiny's Mark. The horse was in the pasture, grazing in the spring grass. When Destiny's Mark saw them coming, she lifted her head. She watched them approach. Maria took Marcus right up to the horse. She spoke in her calm, quiet voice. "This is Destiny's Mark. She is special. Like you are special. Look at her coat. Look at her markings. They are not like any other horse. She is different. But she is not broken. She is beautiful. You are beautiful too. Even if you cannot talk like other people," Maria said. Marcus did not smile, but he reached out his small hand. Destiny's Mark lowered her head. The boy's tiny fingers touched the soft fur on the horse's nose. And something happened. Marcus's mother started crying. She was not sad crying. She was happy crying, because Marcus had made a sound. It was not a word. It was not a sentence. But it was a sound of connection. A sound like he was saying hello to the horse. Week after week, Marcus came to the ranch. He spent time with Destiny's Mark. He would walk beside her. He would sit in the grass next to her. He would touch her coat and listen to her breathe. And slowly, slowly, Marcus began to change. His sounds became more varied. His mother said he was trying to imitate the sounds the horse made. He was trying to communicate with Destiny's Mark. Other children came too. A girl named Emma, who had autism and had trouble looking people in the eyes. She could look at Destiny's Mark. She could touch her without getting upset. Something about the horse's different appearance made Emma feel like she was not so strange anymore. A boy named Jamal came. He had lost his father in an accident. He was sad all the time. He did not want to talk to anyone, but when he was with Destiny's Mark, something softened in him. He would sit with his head resting on the horse's neck, and Maria could see him breathing more slowly, see the sadness getting smaller. One afternoon in late spring, something beautiful happened. Marcus and Emma were both at the ranch at the same time. They had never met before. Marcus saw Emma sitting in the grass near Destiny's Mark. He walked over to her, very slowly, very carefully. Emma did not look at him directly. She was looking at the horse, but Marcus sat down right next to her. They both sat in silence, touching Destiny's mark at the same time. Two children who could not communicate easily with the rest of the world, but who could communicate with this horse. Who could communicate with each other even without words. Maria watched from far away. She let tears fall down her face. This was what she had wanted. This was what she had known would happen. By the end of that summer, more than 20 children had come through the program. 20 children who felt broken or different or alone. And every single one of them had found something at the ranch, something they could not find anywhere else. One evening in August, Maria sat on the porch of her house. The sun was setting. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink and purple. Lise came and sat beside her. He had always been skeptical about Destiny's mark, but he had changed his mind. "You were right," he said simply. "I did not believe you. But you were right. That horse is something special." Maria reached over and held his hand. "I was right, but not for the reasons I thought," Maria said slowly. "I thought she was special because of the spots, because of the unusual markings, because of the genetics. But that was not it at all. She is special because of her heart, because she understands what it feels like to be different, because she does not hide from her difference. She shows it to the world, and that gives other people permission to stop hiding too." Luis squeezed her hand. He understood now. As the years went on, Destiny's mark became known throughout the whole region, not as a show horse, not as a breeding animal, but as a healer. As a bridge between people who felt alone in the world that had made them feel broken. Maria never sold the horse. Many people offered her money, very good money. But Maria always said no. Destiny's mark belonged at the ranch. She belonged with the children who needed her. Years later, when Maria was much older, she would sit in the pasture with Destiny's mark, just like she had done when the horse was young. The horse's coat was still beautiful, still covered in those impossible markings, still one in a million. Maria would run her hands across those spotted patterns and remember. Remember the cold morning when she first saw the foal. Remember all the doubt and criticism. Remember the moment when everyone finally understood. "Thank you," Maria would whisper to the horse. "Thank you for being brave. Thank you for showing me something true." And Destiny's mark would rest her head on Maria's shoulder, just like she had done 1,000 times before. Because that was what they did. That was what they had always done. They stayed together. They believed in each other. They showed the world that the most beautiful things are often the things that are different. That the greatest gifts come wrapped in unexpected packages. That love is the only thing that truly matters. On quiet evenings, when the ranch fell into that peaceful silence that comes at sunset, when the mountains turned purple and the sky turned soft, Maria would stand with her hand on Destiny's mark's neck and feel grateful. Grateful for a chance encounter with destiny itself. Grateful for a horse that taught her to believe. Grateful for a love that had no beginning and would have no end. And the little spotted horse, with her impossible markings and her enormous heart, would stand beside her best friend and be content. Because they had found something rare in this world. They had found each other, and that was everything. The end.